south, depending on what we think we need to do.
What's up, y'all? Here we are.
What up, what up?
With Ed and Carson. We're gonna go after some wahoo today, or just anything that swims, right?
Pretty
Triggerfish,
much.
spadefish.
I brought fins,
Catfish.
so I'll be able to catch them.
Hopefully we remembered all our gear, but it's beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous, and Carson ate all his egg yolks this morning. Anyway, yeehaw.
All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and walk you through this. So this is Carson's GoPro. I, of course, didn't hit record when all the action happened, but we're about to see some wahoo here. You'll hear Carson
Wahoo.
just calling it out. Wahoo, wahoo, letting us know. So at this point, he's just trying to breathe up, stay calm, watching them. His camera's slightly out of the water because it's on the top of his mask there, but he's looking in the water at these wahoo, and you'll see in a second. He threw that throw flasher to attract him. Kind of brings the wahoo in, and there he goes duck diving. A little shallow, short dive. You can see those wahoo there. Beautiful, beautiful school came in. There's about a dozen in that school. But this one comes in towards that flasher. You can see me kind of poking in there, not sure. And that one came in for the shot. And that was me taking that shot there. And that fish took off. I got a really good holding shot on it, right in the mid kind of mass, just behind the gill plate there. And I had a double flopper shaft on there, So my spear shaft, if you're unfamiliar, is connected to a line, almost like on a fishing pole. And so we just kind of use that to let the fish run at first so that the spear doesn't tear out. And then you just kind of coax them in really slowly without putting too much pressure. And I'm at this point kicking towards the line and slowly trying to pull that fish in after his initial run.
Tell Carson I got a good shot.
So yeah, you can see that fish now. I've kind of kicked after him. You saw that line that I was kind of shaking free. You want to keep swimming forward when you shoot these fish and just keep that line from getting wrapped around you. You just constantly turn it around, checking, making sure it's not getting caught on maybe your weight belt or a fin or whatever it is. You can see I'm just checking my gun, checking my line, making sure that nothing gets wrapped up, because at this point, that fish could take off again, or a shark could come take him down, and if you're wrapped up in that line, you're going with it, and that's not what you want. It could be really dangerous. So just kind of watching him. I stunned him pretty good when I hit him. I don't think he gave a really good run. He ran, but it was not like you've seen where they just take off 100 miles an hour. You can kind of see that color change in the back half a little bit and tell that stunned him. He kind of kicked kind of how he is now most of the time, not that full-on sprint, which probably helped me not peel off as much line. Also important, this line, even though you're getting excited, don't wrap it around your arm to get more grip. I know your fingers might get tired, but a half wrap's about most I do, so that if you open your hand, it'll just unpeel, but certainly don't wrap that thing all the way around your hand or anything like that. Yeah, so you get them close here, you got to kind of resist the urge to pull too quickly. A lot of times they'll kind of kick a little bit, but usually these wahoo are pretty tired after their initial run. And there we go, once you get your hands in those gills. Once you get your hands in those gills, it's like you got control of that fish. It's time to celebrate, so. Here you see I'm attempting to dispatch that fish, basically just get him in the brain so that he's not suffering unnecessarily. You want to be as humane as possible. And then right here, what we're doing is we're hitting right around the gills. There's a lot of blood flow. You can hit one of those main arteries and kind of get some of that bled. Then the meat is always whiter, always less blood. If you're familiar with eating fish and regular fishing, that bloodline can make it fishy, so
It's a beautiful one. Look at that. Woo! You're next.
You can tell we're excited.
He's pretty alive. You got him?
No.
He's heavy.
I know. I gotta.
All right, you ready?
No, hang on.
You can tell my adrenaline's going. I'm just trying to get this thing in the boat.
Hold on.
Slide.
Yep. There you go.
Hang on. Nope.
Got it.
Look at this thing. That was a good sized wahoo. I was pretty happy with that.
Woo!
Damn, son.
Yeah, buddy. Slide that shaft out. We gotta get Carson on one.
So you can tell I'm excited here. I love shooting a fish, but what I love more is when my buddies get their first wahoo or biggest wahoo. So just trying to right now get this line all back on my reel now that we're by the boat. There we go. You can see that there. And I'm back in the water. We're diving along these wrecks here down in the Florida Keys. I don't like to give exactly where they're at so that the spots don't get blown up, but we'll say it's between 80 and 200 feet of water. And you can see that shadow there as the wreck. And you can see those horseye jacks right there. You could also see a yellowtail. And what we do here when we dive down, we're not going all the way down, 200 feet or 150 feet or whatever it is. We like to go down, quarter of the way, halfway, and just kind of assess everything, looking at the bottom. Like you saw that speck that was right there. I'm looking at, it's looking back at me. That's a Goliath grouper that's probably 100 pounds or so. That cloud of shine you see in front of me right there, those are all different bait fish. And we're just kind of looking around, seeing what's down there, seeing if maybe there's some African pompano at the bottom. We can try and course up, maybe some yellow jacks, whatever you name it. Or if the wahoo are down there, you never know. But today we were seeing them at the surface. You can see Carson there. We dive with the buddy system there. And so when we come up, we make sure we look at everybody and give the proper signals to let each other know, just kind of body language, all that. So it's a one up, one down. I dive, he's up watching me. When he dives, I'm up watching him, ideally. So, and you can see that shiny thing on the left there. That's actually a flasher rig is what it's called. It's essentially a device that attracts fish. If you're not familiar with it, it's shiny and can bring in things like wahoo and any fish really that's curious and hungry usually. So I'm just kind of scanning. You can see some more jacks over there, some blue runners and things. And I'm just kind of observing, seeing if there's wahoo in the water column. And I'm swimming up towards the surface now, looking up at the surface and around, because a lot of times on your way up from a deep dive, at least what I've found, you're definitely likely to, the behavior of the wahoo, they tend to see you go, if you go real deep and are coming back up, they come in as you're coming up. And hopefully you're not too out of breath to chase them.
All right, y'all, I got one wahoo on the boat, in the bag, and we're seeing a whole bunch of them. And Ed just hollered wahoo. I saw his float go tearing under the water. So.
All right, yeah, and then here's Carson's GoPro. They're diving, I'm capturing the boat right now. And you can see that wahoo on the left. Ed had already shot it. We didn't get footage of any footage of shooting it, but the shark came in. And Carson's just kind of keeping it away a little bit, kind of posturing at it to keep it from coming in.
Got a bull shark. I got the shark.
Communication's key here, because if he hadn't hollered, I would have had no idea there was a shark and put my camera down and get more focus with it. So you can see that wahoo down there. It's kind of kicking. Ed shot it, got a good shot. You can see his He's got a different setup than I have. I got a reel. He's got a float line. It's basically his spear detaches when he shoots. So he still has his gun in his hand. And then that spear is attached to a line, which is attached to a buoy, essentially, on the surface. And that keeps the fish from having too much pressure and tearing out. It kind of does the work for you. He also uses a slip tip. So it's basically the tip detaches and turns sideways and creates more surface area for all that pressure that fish is putting on it to kind of disperse that so it has a less chance of tearing out. Looks like he's got it pretty close here. Pulling it up. Looks like he's got it by the tail.
Yeah! Woo!
At that point you could tell that he's got it and they're stoked. But you still gotta...
I just heard him say, hell yeah. It's all shaft in Ed's hands. So I'm assuming there's a nice wahoo on the end there. Ed hopped in for a total of half a minute and had a wahoo on there. Back up towards him a little bit. Carson just took a dive. I bet you there's another wahoo for sure.
So that's when I heard, oh, there's a bull shark. You can see Ed with that beautiful, beautiful wahoo.
Hey, Ed, bull shark underneath you. I got you.
Ed's reloading his gun. Got another wahoo on the boat. Smaller one, but still a good size one. Beauty. I'm gonna toss him in the fish bag and hopefully Carson can get one. He just said there's a bull shark on him pretty good, so I'm gonna go and quit filming, but yeehaw, baby.
You can see, we don't think it was a bull shark. I can't remember what type of shark they said. I'm not a super shark fan or anything like that, so I think they said maybe it was like a silky or a dusky or something like that, but at the moment they thought it was a bull. So, but it's pretty curious. It's kind of coming up around Carson and it was poking at his float there. So anytime that happens and you get a curious shark like this, just not really afraid of you, it's kind of time to move. You don't want to shoot something else and that shark take off with it and get used to the fact that...
Here we are. Carson's hopping in. Ed's about to hop in. Ed got a wahoo on there. Carson is about to get one. We're still the only boat drifting this wreck, which never happens. It's usually a fiasco out here, but we've been seeing dozens and dozens of wahoo. I got you. Super blue, so we're hoping that we can just sit here all day and pluck away. We got two so far, so. Here we go. Ed made a 13-second dive and shot a wahoo after being in the water for maybe 13 seconds. Carson's waiting on the big one. He's been exercising some...
shoot on those little dinks. Yeah, I'm gonna shoot an 80-pounder.
He's been exercising a lot of patience, which is a really good thing that it's hard to have with wahoo. So I'm gonna do a few more drifts. One other boat's come up and they're line fishing, so I'm not too worried about them.
That slip tip held on really good, Ed. Good. I was like looking at it, considering whether I should, no, I'm talking about the shot you made.
Anyway, yeehaw, I gotta get ready.
All right, I'm back in the water here. And I'm gonna do a few more dives on this. Nothing really crazy happens, but I like to run people through kind of what goes on diving because I have a lot of people ask me about it and how you do it on the docks and stuff like that. So you can see that flasher rig, I'm diving down. You can see the wreck. You see that little shine in the middle there, that little speck. I can tell that's a horseye jack. There's a couple of them down there. And you're just kind of scanning to try and see if any other schools of anything are moving around. Like I was saying before, maybe some yellow jack, maybe some African pompano, whatever. So you just kind of take a look. And then as I'm coming up, I tend to do this little spin. When the water's got the viz, it does like this, 100 foot of viz. That way, if there's some wahoo out there, I can see them on the way up, and when I get up there, I can let Carson know, or whoever's diving with me know. That there's some there.
Foreside. This foreside jack. All right. We're out here. Did about an hour and a half more of drifting over the wreck. Didn't see any more wahoo, so we're gonna switch it up. They might have moved on. We're gonna head to a deeper wreck, I think.
We are.
Somewhere between 500 feet and 100 feet.
It will be deeper.
Yeah, so that's about it. Got a yellowtail on the boat. Forgot to record it, like always. Like an idiot. But anyway, yeehaw. All right, we went out to 200, didn't see anything. So we moved into the edge of the reef around
fish bag with all these big
100 feet.
It's getting really annoying.
100 foot.
You guys wouldn't
reef.
shoot all these big fish, you wouldn't have to be doing that.
So we're moving a little bit, and they're gonna hop in and see if we can put something on the boat. Last week we saw a wahoo here. What happened, Ed, when we saw one?
It tore out.
It was brutal. It tore out. So this time we're not team tear out. We got two. Looks great. All right, I'm in neutral. Yeehaw.
All right, I'm back in the water at this this reef, or this next wreck, and to be honest, we didn't really produce anything off this wreck, but it was a pretty nice one to dive, and so I'll run you through some of these dives. You can see the wreck there. You know, we're kind of just scanning. This one's got a lot of holes in it. You can see the fish schools on that left side of the screen there. There's a lot of areas here where if you shoot a fish and you can't keep them off the wreck, they just get tangled up and you lose your shaft. And when you're working in that depth over 80 feet, 70 feet, whatever, pulling fish out of holes and untangling stuff is not ideal. You want to get a good shot, wait for that shot. You can see Carson here doing a good job safety to me,
Foreside jack.
watching me as I come up.
In the sand on that side that I couldn't tell what it was.
Bull shark, right before you dove, a bull shark swam by, had 3 nice cobies.
Oh, no way. Where? At the bottom?
Swam out that way. They were hovering the bottom pretty good.
That's all right. Well, let's see if we can get one.
So I did see those cobia later. I didn't shoot one. They didn't come in within range, and I didn't get it on video, but I did see them, and they were big. But that's how it goes sometimes. You can't get them all. They were just a little skittish. But you can see that wreck, that blob in the middle. That's the wreck. So from the surface, you use that to kind of orient yourself and do a breathe up and calm yourself down. And then do my duck dive. Kicking down here, I'll run you through this dive as well. So there's that wreck. You can see all those cross beams. So that's kind of why you want to stone the fish, or either make sure you got enough left in, you have enough air and enough energy to where if you got to hold that fish and kind of manhandle them up a little bit, you're going to be not pushing it too hard and not trying to create a dangerous situation where you can black out or anything like that. Now you see right there, you can barely see it. I'm shining my flasher at it in the middle of the screen. That was a permit. And those are also fish that people like to eat and spear, and very powerful fish. And I had lost a shaft in this wreck to one before because I made a shot that I thought was going to be a stone shot, and it was a very powerful fish. And he took the shaft, and I didn't have enough. Got too tangled in there,
permit started
unfortunately.
coming at me, a real big one.
So I'm not going to take a shot at that fish, even though I had a couple throughout the day. Unless I know I can stone it darn near point blank, then I would. But I was afraid he'd get tangled up in the wreck again, and you don't want any fish to not be used for food. And so here's Carson. He dove deep on this one. This is his footage here. You can see how beautiful that wreck is. You can see all those holes there. There's those permit. Beautiful fish. See how Carson, he had a shot on him, but they would have gotten tangled and all that, and that's just not what you want to be doing, is making wrecks, making dives down on wrecks and untangling fish at 100 feet. It's just not smart. So Carson made a deeper dive, always using this buddy system. You'll see me here right on him. You want to be on those deeper dives. There, people are pushing themselves really close, watching them good, making sure if there's any signs of
Pretty much touched it.
an LMC or loss of motor control, a blackout, anything like that. You want to be right near them on those deeper ones.
About ready to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Let them know if they see that bull shark to keep an eye out for 3 cobia. They're hanging on it.
Some friends pulled up. We were kind of communicating to help them maybe get some fish too. And that's the end of the day. Man, it was awesome. It was one of those days you pray for. So we weren't able to get Carson on one that day, but Ed and I got one, and it took all the teamwork to get them all on the boat. So big shout out to Carson for helping us with those. And of course, Ed for letting us join him on his boat. He's got an awesome shop in the Florida Keys, Kill Shot spear guns. I'll put the link below. If you're looking for a good spear gun, he makes the best ones, the good old US of A. Check him out. So yeah, that's the end of that day.
So
It's a blast.
I should have just stayed still because they were coming right up at me, but I didn't know if you saw them. I was like, "Er." I was like, and they got pretty close. I was like, I better make a dive on them.
All right, we're back on the boat. We went to another wreck and saw some cobia and some permit, but couldn't close the distance. Is there a booger? I'm keeping it in there. Anyway, but we managed a couple good ones. Yeah, so we're gonna go and call it a day. Yeehaw. We're half cleaned up here at the dock, and Ed has taco meated
Oh, Jesus Christ.
with a chainsaw. You can't see, this is all particles of wahoo. And then this is resembles a wahoo.
Do you know how many wahoo Luke has cleaned in his life? I'm
I
guessing.
think we should let Luke clean this big one.
For the record, I have filleted them, but just never on Ed's boat, so
All right,
they're
we're
giving
back at the dock.
me a hard time.
Got this wahoo here. Good size one. And Carson's giving us the clinic. Look at this. He's got this thing all cubed up already.
Alright, we're gonna need a clean surface to put this on. Or
Clean
just we'll put it right in bags, I guess, for now.
Okay. Are you gonna take the skin off or no? Just leave
I was
the-
gonna do that. I would do that at home.
Okay.
It'll make the meat a lot better.
Look at that. So the knife never touches anything. It's got bacteria on it. And the meat never touches anything dirty. Let's go and skid side down. So much more work for me. Anyway, we're gonna get this thing all filleted up. So here I lost the audio, but I'll go ahead and do some commentary real quick. Carson's getting this thing perfectly filleted up. We like to pay the most respect to the fish we can by making sure that we fillet it in a way that we could use as much meat as possible and the highest quality meat. You can see we got it all skin side down there, so it's not skin, that goo doesn't get on there. You want to kind of keep that sludge on the outside of the skin from getting on there. So it's a beautiful day. Can't ask for much better. Great friends, great times. Feel free to hit like and subscribe. Oh, look at that meat there. Beautiful white meat. But anyway, feel free to hit like and subscribe.
No real serious videos, just good times. And if you want to see more videos like this, feel free to follow. And yeah, anyway, cheers, y'all. Yeehaw. See you next time.
Alrighty, boys and girls, I am
Thoroughly impressed.
I am very impressed. We've got a new vacuum packer that we purchased recently, and you're going to get to see it in operation.
Oh, it's just perfectly clean. Put them in there. You want to make sure they don't slide around. Get the skin on the meat, so you want to make sure that they're vacuum sealed really good. So you just do one of these, nice and glamorous.
We didn't shoot anything else cool, but
Lucas
lot of permit around,
bag.
a lot of cases. There's some big cuberas on that wreck. Yeah, big ones.